Would you rather trade roles with solid waste for a week or traffic engineering for a week?
Solid waste. I love traffic engineering if they're listening to this, but I already get to spend a lot of time with them. And so I would really like to spend more time with solid waste, especially in the vehicles, because they're really cool what they can do.
What's up, College Station? I'm Grace Hollowell, and today I'm joined by Emily Fisher, the director of the City of College Station's Public Works Department. Hi, Emily.
Hi.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
As we are recording this, it is Women in Construction Week, so congratulations and happy Women in Construction Week to you. And you recently, at our 2025 Employee Service Awards, won the Leadership Award for the city, so a big week and big year for you.
Yes.
So what did winning that leadership award mean to you?
It really was a surprise because I feel like all my fellow directors are absolutely great leaders, and I'm trying to learn from them. So it was a surprise, but just really, really appreciative that the city manager's office thinks of me that way, and just appreciative that I get to work in a place that recognizes good leadership.
Yes, and you are in a field that sometimes people might not know what all it encompasses. Public Works is a very broad term.
Yes.
So to kick things off, tell us a little bit about you and what you do.
Sure. Well, I'm a native of College Station, so born and raised here.
Awesome.
Yeah. And I became the director a little over 4 years ago, but before that, I'm a civil engineer by training, and so I've done that for over 20 years. And yeah, just really excited to be here.
Yes, and what has made you stay in College Station all of these years?
So I actually did move away for a little bit after school, after A&M, just to kind of get a different experience.
Yeah.
But really missed it here.
Yeah.
And it's a great place to raise a family. And having my family here made it easier for us and our family. So it was, and I was able to get a job as a project manager at the time with the city. So it was just kind of everything fell into place.
Awesome. Yes, we see time and again that the people that are raised in College Station or come here from school, more often than not, they come back because of the people that make up College Station.
Yeah,
and
the
that's
quality
what makes
of
our
life. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So with the transition from the engineering background to Director of Public Works, for those that might not know what all Public Works entails, how does that go hand in hand?
So my engineering background actually was in something completely different than what I do now. I was in land development and in Houston at a time that Houston was just exploding with growth. So a little bit different, but I think just kind of the experience I got there, and then being a project manager when I first came to the city, just kind of built on top of that. Nothing can prepare you to be a leader because it comes with all these other things that you don't realize, but it definitely has transitioned more away from engineering and more of an administration role. But yeah, I'm glad I have that background. It's good, solid background. But yeah, I don't do a whole lot of engineering anymore.
Yeah. Yes, and I know a lot of people, my grandfather was an engineer for General Electric for many years, and their brains are very different compared to creative types like me or communicators.
Yes, yeah.
So I'm sure there was a balance there from switching that thought process to what you're doing now.
Yes, absolutely. And it's also great to surround yourself with people that are, more creative type and different than you, because they kind of balance it out when you're all very black and white and everything needs to be at right angles.
Yes, I know my Tinker Toys growing up, it was always a moving locomotive type spinning wheel, and I was like, I just want to play.
I don't want to build it, I just want to play with it. I can completely understand that.
So what is one thing you wish people knew about Public Works?
There's a lot of things out there. I think one thing is people tend to just think it's, we're fixing things, we're out there repairing things, when it's so much more than that. we have to make sure we identify and have the condition of all of our infrastructure that we take care of, which is called asset management. And that's such a big part of what we do, and such a big kind of background of what we do that you don't really see,
Right.
But very important. And then also, I think people don't realize that we don't do all the work that we're set out that our department does. We use a lot of contract work because we just couldn't do it all.
Right.
So street maintenance, mowing, that sort of thing, all we supplement what we do with contractors. And I don't know that everyone realizes that.
Right. And I know we have Caroline from Solid Waste on the show quite often. And she always mentions just when you think about College Station as a whole and how many residents there are, just how little solid waste vehicles we have. And they cover a large surface area, which I'm sure plays into the fact of those contractors and why they are so vital to keep things running smoothly.
Yes.
So what is your favorite thing about what you do?
Definitely the people I work with, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart. I have a great team. I really enjoy coming to work every day, most days. I mean, there are some days you just, don't want to, but we've got just a really good group of people, and I'm so lucky that we have it. So that's the best part for me.
Yes, the one city, one team aspect rings true through all of our departments here. So this is kind of a tough question, but how does what you do impact College Station and our community?
That is a tough question, and it's a good question. So I think I'm not the one out there driving the solid waste trucks or filling the potholes, but I can control our budget and what we use our resources for. So just making sure that everyone has what they need to be successful in their different jobs. That is something I can control to an extent. So as long as I'm doing that part and then everyone can do their job with the right equipment, the right resources safely, then we're successful.
Yes, absolutely. And what is one thing that you have learned so far during your time in this position as director? I'm sure so many things.
Yes. I've learned a lot of things. Dealing with just different personalities. I deal now as a leader, a lot of personnel things, and just trying to learn people's different styles of learning, of reacting. That's probably been the biggest kind of learning curve I have had as being director, is just learning how people work together, finding their strengths, trying to use that, to bolster the team. It's very difficult to do, and people are so different.
Yes.
So different than me, which is great. But, if you go in thinking, oh, everyone's like me, like when I was in Capitol, everyone was pretty much an engineer, so it was, easier to relate. So that's definitely not. I didn't know that was going to be a part of the job coming into it, but I've learned so much from just dealing with people.
Yes, that is something too. In our department here in public communications, we all have a similar background in that world of our communications, but we are all very, very different. And like you said, working together and sharing those perspectives of thinking differently or doing things differently is very important, especially with the city that is made up from people of all different areas who think and work and act very different from each other. So before we get into our topic today, what is a fun fact about yourself or something that most people don't know about you?
I really like watching, experiencing car racing, mostly Formula One, but I will watch NASCAR and Indy cars and even motorcycles sometimes. If there's racing, I'll be there. But Formula One's the big one.
Yes, my husband's a big NASCAR guy, and it's every Sunday. It's on the TV.
Yeah, and it gives you something to do every Sunday.
Yes, it does. And I am learning more and more that it's more than just cars going in a circle. There's a lot more that goes into it.
Yes, for sure.
Do you have a driver that you root for?
So on the Formula One side, Lewis Hamilton
Okay.
is my favorite driver.
I've heard of him. So we're talking about today an update with Public Works. So to kick it off, what are the core mission and values of our Public Works Department?
So our mission is to manage the city's infrastructure efficiently and safely, pretty much. So, but with Public Works looks kind of different for every city. What we do specifically, it's a lot. We maintain streets and then the drainage systems. We manage the city's fleet. So over 600 vehicles, 800 total pieces of vehicles and equipment. We collect solid waste. And then everything traffic related, so traffic signals, signs, markings, we maintain all of that infrastructure. So wide range of things.
Yes.
It's some cities have different utilities thrown in there, but that's enough for us how we have it here. So, but lots of different things.
Yes, and what is something that you've noticed being a College Station native from the time when you were growing up to when you were in school at A&M to now? Our city looks much different. So what are some of the biggest changes in a public works lens that you have noticed?
So we provide such great services compared to some other cities that I've lived in, definitely on the solid waste side.
Yes.
And growing up, I remember, they collected once a week and they collected bulk and brush once a week, which is a big deal, thinking that was the norm, and then living in other cities, and that's not the norm.
Right.
So coming back to that, really, really lucky that we have that, and I don't take that for granted anymore. And obviously because we have such a great team that makes that happen, but the fact that we've grown so much since I was growing up and we still maintain that service, we've even added more like recycling every other week, is just, that's huge.
Yes, growing up, my hometown of Erie, Pennsylvania, you had to schedule your bulk pickup and there was an extra fee for it. So when my husband and I moved here, we were like, oh, this is really nice.
Yes. Yes, it is.
So what are some of the top priorities or strategic goals that the department is focusing on this year?
So one thing we always is always one of our top goals is that we are able to do everything we do safely.
Yes.
Because we work in a lot of public rights of way. So streets are located in rights of ways. A lot of our drainage infrastructure is in rights of ways. So making sure that when we're out there, we're doing it safely, and that's a huge part of what we do. But this year and the last couple of years, we've really been focusing on trying to get kind of a condition assessment of our drainage system. So we are looking at every single pipe in the city with the camera system that we have. And we've been doing that for the last year to get a condition, see which ones need repairs, see if they're blocked. It's very easy to clear a blockage. So that's been our focus kind of, and we'll continue to do that into the next year.
Awesome. So how does the Public Works Department coordinate with the other city departments or community partners on major events or high traffic situations?
So game day is a great example of that. So we work heavily with Texas A&M for game days, specifically the Texas Transportation Institute, TTI. They have actually come up with a wonderful traffic control plan for exiting the game. It really doesn't take that long to leave Kyle Field. But they're a big partner in that. Lots of other departments help us too. PD's a big one, helps us a lot on game day. Our streets department in our streets division in Public Works helps a lot. So lots of coordination, lots of people coming together. But what that has also done is now that we've seen that they're going to have events at Kyle Field for other than football, we can use the same plan.
Right.
And just kind of copy it over. It's a little bit different because people aren't necessarily used to it, but it was very successful last summer. So But it is a lot of coordination, and we couldn't do it without everyone else helping us.
Yes, it is a multifaceted
Yes,
operation. And College Station manages hundreds of miles of streets and traffic signage. So how do you plan for and prioritize the maintenance versus new improvements?
So and I've been on the podcast before talking about street maintenance, but we basically grade every street, give it a grade from 0 to 100, 100 being the best. There's a lot that goes into determining that grade, but someone in our streets division is setting eyes on every street at least once a year for that evaluation.
Yes.
And then once we have those scores, we can kind of see the lower scores. That's where we want to focus. Sometimes you get to the point where the score's so low that we're not going to be able to do, we can continue to patch the road or whatever, but that's when it moves to capital to rebuild. Like they're rebuilding Lincoln right now.
Yes.
Lincoln was beyond what we could do to it from a
Right.
maintenance standpoint. So now capital has taken it and just building a brand new street, which is going to be, well, it's already amazing, but when it's open and finished, it'll be so great.
Yes, and that is something too. The grading system is very important because we have a limited amount of staff that can't always be on every single street that we have.
Yeah.
So how we talked about drainage and how that is something that is prioritized this year. So how does drainage management and stormwater management work to keep our neighborhoods safe, especially during heavy rain? I know this year has been very, very wet.
Yes. Yeah. So our drainage system, which is made up of pipes that collect the stormwater, as well as creeks where it eventually flows to. And all of that is designed to get the water out into a creek as fast as possible without affecting people downstream, upstream. There's a balance there.
Yes.
So very, very important that system works, because if the water doesn't drain, then it's in the streets. And we're very lucky that we don't have a lot of flooding here as compared to other communities. Very, very lucky, but that doesn't mean that we don't have drainage issues when it rains. And so don't ever want anyone driving through high water or anything like that. So it's very important that we stay on top of maintaining that drainage system. Also, rainfall is it's more intense and happening more now.
Yeah.
And there's just, we're just having to kind of adapt with that and learn from that, because it's going to continue to do that. So, lots of different pieces going into that.
Yes, and I'm sure another important aspect is keeping our drains clear from a resident side. So I know Scoop the Poop Week is coming up, which is always a fun initiative. For our residents listening, it is very important to not put anything down those drains.
And
do not do that.
Most of them have little markers on there to remind you that the water going into those is making it all the way to the Brazos River.
Yes.
Ultimately, the Gulf. So it's very important that you don't, pick up your poop, or don't blow your lawn clippings into the drains.
Pour your pool chemicals down there. Don't do that.
Don't do that. Yeah, no. And don't put your pool chemicals in the trash either, because they catch fire, which happens. Very, very important. That's a good point. I'm glad you brought that up.
Yes, it is something too that I know growing up in my neighborhood, my house was right on the corner where there was a storm drain. And when blockages would happen, it would be in our yard.
Yeah.
So keep in mind your neighbors too.
Yep.
So for planning for the future, like we mentioned, College Station has grown and is still growing. How do you plan for future infrastructure needs in our growing community?
That's a great question also. So a lot of different things. We've got a pretty good idea based on, our comprehensive plan, future land use, kind of what the city could look like in the future. And then we've got historical data of how much it's grown each year. So we use both of those, to figure out how many trucks solid waste trucks we're going to need in the next 5 years, and do we need another person on a streets crew to help. So something we're always looking at. It's hard to predict that, especially when you're talking about buying huge pieces of equipment, but and then also having that asset management program and then knowing the condition of everything really helps for planning. It helps us learn from past, like, hey, we maybe shouldn't build things this way. Maybe they should be built this way. Work with planning and development services on our standards and that sort of thing. So a lot goes into it, but I feel very confident about the future and growth that we will be able to handle it no problem.
Yes, you have a great team, like you mentioned. So how can residents get involved or report issues or participate in programs like the Adopt a Street program?
So lots of different ways you can report issues. The website, pubworks at cstx.gov is a good one because the email goes to a lot of different people. So someone's going to see it. SeeClickFix is another one. We have a lot of forms on the website. So if you see like an issue with a traffic signal, you can report it. If you see a drainage issue, you can report it. So lots of different ways. There's a lot of information on our website also about Adopt a Street. So if you've got a student group interested in cleaning up a street, check that out. We're constantly rotating groups in and out. We've had a few instances of individual people adopting streets, which is it's also great. We actually don't have any streets that are open right now for adoption, but like I said, we rotate groups in and out, and you get a sign on the street that has your group on it. So, but yeah, all of that's on our website. So if you're interested, check that out.
And are there ways for the community to engage with Public Works beyond reporting concerns, such as volunteer opportunities or public meetings?
Yes. So Citizens University is a great way, and that's like one of our favorite nights because we get to show everything off and show everyone kind of they don't know everything we do, and they're always so surprised. So that's a good one. We do have public meetings, especially on the traffic side, parking removal, that sort of things throughout the year. I give updates to council pretty often, so just staying kind of engaged with that. If you are really interested in Public Works, we love having people over at our facility. So just give us a call. And if you want to come look at a solid waste truck, come look at a solid waste truck. We'll show you how it works. So we're always looking to get that word out of what we do because people, they just don't know if we don't let them know.
So switching gears here, what are some of the biggest challenges that y'all face?
Probably, there's always going to be the funding aspect, budget. We are very lucky in what we get now, but we could, always use more, but we're sharing with everyone else. And so we do have, we're lucky in that we have different funds that are available to us to do different things. So that helps finding highly skilled workers is a problem we've had in the past. Right now, we are almost fully staffed, and we have a great team. So, and so that hasn't really been an issue of late, but that's been something we've dealt with before.
Yes, and how does your department handle unexpected crises, like severe weather or unexpected traffic concerns, like the Big Six project, things like that? I'm sure every day looks different for you.
Yes, we actually had a solid waste truck fall into the street yesterday, which is not the first time that's happened, but it doesn't happen very often. So there's always something different. We are constantly preparing for emergencies. It's part of what we do. So doing tabletop exercises, we have plans for everything. So we are prepared if an emergency were going to come along. But big storms, those no matter how prepared you are, those catch you off guard. The biggest thing is knowing where our trouble spots are and making sure we get people out there to block the roads so people don't because really, like I said, we don't have a flooding problem, but drainage in streets in the streets can be an issue. And then just every day, like a solid waste truck falling into the road, we just deal with them as they come up, and it keeps it interesting.
Yes, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So what is an accomplishment that you were most proud of during your time as director?
Oh, man. I'm just happy I made it this far. No, that's an accomplishment. No, we've had a lot of initiatives that we've done just based on feedback. Like the drainage assessment would be one thing. And it's just we assess all our streets, so why not do it for drainage? So just being able to get the resources to do that and starting it, and it's going to take a while because there's so much pipe to look at, but we're slowly getting through it. And being fully staffed right now, almost fully staffed, that's a big accomplishment too, although I can't take credit, just me for it, but it's so those are a couple things that I'm really proud of.
Now, before we go, we have a fun game of Would You Rather. Before we get into that, one more time, where can people find out more about Public Works?
So the website, cstx.gov, and if you just type in Public Works or anything you want into the search bar, it will come up. And again, there's lots of different ways to contact us. Pubworks@cstx.gov is a really good way because so many people get those emails, so we can make sure we address it, because that's what we don't want to not address something that comes in or not communicate to the person that sent it in. So website would be number one.
So all of these questions are based around Public Works. You just say whatever response or whatever would you rather feels best, okay?
All right, let's go.
So would you rather repave streets in August heat or respond to drainage calls during a torrential downpour?
Repave streets. Yeah.
Would you rather design a brand new roadway from scratch or rehabilitate a historic neighborhood street?
From scratch, brand new road, greenfield. That's so much easier than going into a neighborhood and rebuilding a street.
Okay. Would you rather explain traffic engineering to a room full of kindergartners or present a 5-year capital improvement plan to city council?
I'm gonna have to take city council on that one. I am not a teacher, and I have wonderful kids. I have 2 wonderful sons, but I'm not a kid person. And so I don't know. I would just be up there saying all kinds of nonsense, and they wouldn't know what I was talking
Goes back
about.
to that engineering background.
Yes, yeah.
Would you rather trade roles with solid waste for a week or traffic engineering for a week?
Solid waste. I love traffic engineering if they're listening to this, but I already get to spend a lot of time with them. And so I would really like to spend more time with solid waste, especially in the vehicles, because they're really cool what they can do.
Yes, absolutely. And then finally, would you rather operate heavy equipment for a day or work in the traffic control center during a major event weekend?
Heavy equipment during the day, which I've asked before to operate something, just give me something, and they won't do it. So you have to have a commercial driver's license to drive a lot of what we have. So,
Gotcha.
And I don't have one, so that might be the reason, but definitely heavy equipment.
Yes. Well, you can make it one of your goals.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being here today, Emily. And that's what's up.